All right, so I believe we have Carmine linked up so that we can do a little Apple preview. Carmine, welcome.
Hey Tim, how's it going?
It's going well. So I know you've been hard at work getting prepared for this Apple event.
Oh yeah.
So let's start first and foremost. What are the expectations here for revenue and EPS?
The consensus calls for EPS of 267 and revenue of almost 61 billion. The revenue growth is going to be about 15% this year. As far as the gross margins for the second quarter, it's going to be between 38 and 38.5. That was their guidance, and the consensus is near the high end of that range. And it was a little bit of a drop off from last year because last year was 38.9. As far as the Q3 guidance, we have revenue. They're going to guide for Q3 revenues, which where the consensus stands at about 51.5 billion.
Okay, now it's important to note that this will be Apple's Q2, right?
Correct.
Okay. All right, and in terms of iPhone sales and some of the other unit sales, what are the expectations there?
The iPhone sales is really going to be the big number that everybody's going to be looking at as far as metrics are concerned. The street's looking for around 52 million iPhone sales. Now, these estimates have been coming down for the last 2 to 3 months, especially after Taiwan Semi provided a weaker than expected outlook on smartphone demand. Several sell-side firms lowered their estimates for unit sales and estimates for revenue overall for the company. So these estimates have been coming down, but right now they do stand at about 52 million. That's a little bit higher than the number of iPhones they sold last year, which was 50.8. But this is the second full quarter where the iPhone X will be in place. So okay. As far as iPads, we have shipments, expected shipments of about 8.8 million. That's comparison to 10.2 million last year. And for Macs, which is a number that really not too many people pay too close attention to, but in any event, it's expectations of 4.1 million units versus 4.2 million last year.
Okay, got it. So unit sales and just normal fundamental metrics aren't the only story to this one. There's also some expectations as far as the capital return as well, right?
Correct. Every second quarter they update their share repurchase program and their dividend. Last year at this time, the board increased the share repurchase authorization to 210 billion from the 175 billion level that was announced a year ago. And they increased their dividend by 10%. This year, those increases are expected to be blown out because of the repatriation tax law. So Apple was able to bring a lot of cash back from overseas. So analysts are looking for anywhere between 75 and 150 billion in shareholder returns between the purchase program and the dividend. This year, it's not exactly clear how they're going to separate it out, but the consensus really is calling for right around 100 billion in share purchases, so it should be a notable capital return.
Okay, so looking at 100 billion in share repurchases. So in terms of what the option market is baking in for the movement in this, have you been able to get a sense of the type of movement we should be looking for?
just based on the straddle. This doesn't say which direction. This doesn't say like which direction it's going to go, but the option market is pricing in to move about 5% in either direction by weekly options expiration, which is Friday.
Okay. Okay, got it. So there's a lot of things to really look over, and I believe you've highlighted all these in your Apple preview, right?
Correct. That's up at 10:53. And just as a side note, Apple will have a call today at 4 o'clock where they should provide some additional color on, they don't really usually break down what specific amount of iPhones were sold in each category, but in any event, we should provide some color on how they think things are going overall.
All right, so nobody's going to hold you to this, but I know you follow this stock pretty closely. You're always visiting the Apple Store and checking, doing your own trade checks. Based on what you see, as much as you've covered this one, What do you think the stock does? What do you think the results will do for the stock?
I just think that estimates have been coming down so much that there's a good chance that once these numbers do come out, that they won't be as bad as people are expecting. Not that it'll be bad, but it'll be the bar has been lowered so much. I think Apple will be able to hop over it and might see a positive move in the stock.
All right, and if they do miss, what's going to be the excuse?
Well, I would say probably the iPhone X is not selling as briskly as they thought.
Would that be due to people potentially waiting on that 5G release?
Well, it could be that. It also could be that the $1,000 price tag is just too much for a lot of people to handle.
Yeah, I certainly don't want that. I didn't feel the need to get out to go drop $1,000 on a new phone. So, yeah, I don't know.
I bought it the first week.
Yeah, I know you did. That's why we had you on, buddy. All right, Carmine. Thanks a lot for getting us updated. And if you need a follow-up onto any of those numbers, probably the best way to find that would be to do a ticker search under Apple. And as Carmine noted, that would be a timestamp of 10:53. So you can just do that, and I'll show you, just in case anyone needs to know. We'll walk through that. Carmine, are you still with me?
Yeah.
Did you even do the pre-earnings option analysis on this one?
Oh well, yes. That's part of the comment. Apple was one of the stocks highlighted in that overall comment that shows puts and calls and expected moves in all the stocks that are reporting earnings today.
Okay, great.
Or tomorrow.
Great. So if you do,
it's under Option X as well. So.
Perfect. Yeah, so if you do a ticker search, you'll get all kinds of useful information to get you prepped for this event. And if you scroll down, of course, to that 1053 post, you'll get all the numbers and the expectations there. So I want to give a personal thanks to Carmine for helping us out with that. Thanks a lot.
No problem, Jim. Have a good one.
You too.